Welcome to Mindset Monday. Today we are thrilled to introduce our guest speaker, Wayne Kuhn, who is a broker with RE/MAX Real Estate Center and has been with us for approximately 10 years. Wayne is an award-winning Toastmaster, has spoken regularly on this particular topic at our 90-day challenge, and we're very pleased to advise you, let you know that Wayne is actually going to be a published author very soon, right, Wayne?
That's correct.
Yes, with a book called It's Time to Recharge. So thank you so much for joining us today, Wayne, and I will let you take it away with your Recharge presentation.
Thank you, Louise, and thank you for this opportunity to come and speak to the group of agents joining us today. And one of the things that I always like to do is be positive and talk about the good things that are happening. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Recharge as we go on, and why Recharge came about in my world. A bit about my story. So I joined real estate 33 years ago. It was a perfect fit for me. I think we're in a great industry, a great location, and each one of you should always remember that. Like, you have an opportunity to make as much money as you want. You have a freedom of time. You can come and go as you please. You can get up in the morning when you want. All these things were an attraction to me. And as an entrepreneur, or if you're a small business owner, somebody that controls where you come and go, controls what you do, then you're steps ahead, because then you can decide what you really want in life. And that's kind of where my story came from. About 5 years ago, I took a course with Bob Proctor, and we talked about mindset, and we talked about what you really want in life. And many of us are in positions where we're kind of like a mouse on a treadmill, and we're going round and round and round, and we never really stop and say, what do I really want to do in life, and what do I really want? So my story, when I looked at Recharge, and I thought, one of the things that stumped me is that many of us have taken Louise's 90-day challenge program, and it's awesome. Like, all you ever want to know is in that 90-day program. And so we'll go into a group of people, 50, 60, 70 people, and you all take the same thing, and then you all come out, but not everybody functions at the same level. Some of you will do, 100,000 a year. Others will do 500,000. Some of you do 10 deals a year, and others who do 50 deals. And yet you all have the same knowledge. You all have developed the same skills. So it's almost like there's something in between that we're missing. There's a piece that we're missing, and that's the thing that stumped me, is why. What is the difference between these people, those that do exceedingly well and those that don't? And you could say, oh, well, they're smart, and oh, well, they work hard, or they get up earlier. Well, that might be some of it, but what I found looking at different studies, about 80% of it is mindset, what you're thinking and what you're doing. So I took all that, the last 5 years of thoughts on Recharge and mindset, and some of the lessons I learned and habits and things that I did and developed, and I put it in a book called It's Time to Recharge. So this is just a shameless plug. It should be out in sometime in the fall, but it is I put together the essence of my thoughts in that over the last 33 years, and how I came from back then to where I am now. And so it might be something to look at. So my objective today is to help you be mindful of your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Think about them and how that will affect your income. So Recharge is a process that will bridge the gap between where you are today and just look around and figure it out. Like we all have a business plan likely, and we all have a kind of an idea of where we are today, you know, bills to pay. Now, COVID-19 is an exceptional thing, so we're just going to ignore that. It'll go away. But where are you today, and where do you really want to be in the future? Because that's vitally important. Recharge looks at the gap in between. So what I do in Recharge and the Recharge group is to elevate your mindset so that you think and you function at a higher, more productive level, creating powerful relationships, generating higher income. Relationships, and I think Mike Ferry mentioned it last week, relationships are the key to our business. The more relationships you build, the more people you get to like and trust you, the more money you'll make. So sounds simple, but I don't think we all grasp the idea of that. So I want to talk a little bit about that, about the mindset. So are you fully charged? And what does that mean? And I use the word recharge because a lot of us are charged. We were born, you know, excited. When we were 2 years old, we could stand on top of our wagon and jump off, and we think we're Superman. So we're usually born into this world charged. But now some of us need to relook and to recharge. So what does that fully charged mean? I broke it into what I call the 4 A's of recharge. Acknowledge, so we're going to acknowledge what's going on. We're going to be looking at being more aware of what's going on. And then we'll look at some of the actions that we can take. And finally, we look at our results. We look at being accountable to what we have done through our actions. So let's look at acknowledge. And when I think of acknowledge, there's things in life you can't change. Like if I wanted to be a jockey, here I am 190 pounds, that poor horse would really have to work if I was a jockey. Like some things you have to acknowledge that this is not going to work. We have to acknowledge that we have a family makeup. Some of you have young children at home. These are things to acknowledge, not ignore. They're not excuses, it's just the way it is. I talk about the law of rhythm, and this is a big one that was an aha moment for me, because the law of rhythm is that everything that goes up comes down, like gravity. You throw a ball up, it comes down. You look at the ocean, the tide goes in and the tide goes out. You look at the sun comes up in the east, I think, and then down in the west. And it does that all the time. So very often the law of rhythm talks about that opposites, that if what goes in comes out, what goes up goes down. So we can use that to our advantage because life cycles. So life cycles, today you may feel good, tomorrow maybe not so good. So let's look at the cycle. So my wife and I get each other, we wake up in the morning and likely when you get old as I am, you'll be doing this too. You say, well, how'd you sleep? It's one of our questions. And sometimes I listen to the answers we give each other and say, oh, I ate too late. Well, I think I had a coffee at 6 o'clock. Oh, that must have kept me awake. Oh, I don't know, I was thinking about something. And you think of all these reasons why you didn't have a good night's sleep. And I thought, well, that's likely all crap. Because the reality is sometimes you'll feel good and you'll have a good night's sleep, and sometimes you won't. And you can analyze it to death, but why not just accept it? And that's the way life is. So sometimes you're happy. Sometimes you feel good and things are happy and everything's going along the way it should be. And other times, yeah, you're feeling kind of down. And things are not quite the way you'd like them to go, but you can't quite figure it out. So what is interesting is what I found in Recharge is that what I want to do is try to move you from feeling not so good to feeling great all the time. What if that could happen? You see, in our industry, and a lot of industries are like that, but say somebody phones and say, hey, I just listed my house with Coldwell Banker. And you go, oh, you promised me that listing. Oh, crap. Kind of knocks the wind out of you. So you go home and, no, I don't want to go back to the office. So it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, let's go home. And you drag around, and you kill the rest of the day because you're not feeling so good. So what if we can recharge you with a better attitude, a better way of looking at things, and say, okay, yeah, that's all right. We'll get the next one. Let's go on to something better. So that's a matter of recharge. It's a matter of changing your mind. It's a matter of rethinking things so that you don't drag in the gutter, so that you're not thinking the worst, and all of a sudden you're feeling better. Gratitude is a big thing, and I won't dwell. There's many, many ways and things to do that can cause you to recharge. But a big one is gratitude. It's just being thankful for what you got. It's going up to somebody else and being, complimentary to them. It's saying, "Gee, Louise, you look great today," and things like that make them feel good. And when you pass that on, that comes back in energy, and you'll feel good just doing that. Different things like that. So remember a time when you were feeling at the top of the game. Maybe you just made a good sale. Maybe the grandchildren came over and were playing and you really felt good about it. Maybe you made your first cake and it turned out really awesome. Like, what was it? What was happening in that moment that you're really feeling good? And how did that make you feel? Like, were you happy? Were you feeling energetic? It's in that moment where you nailed that sale, or you got that listing that was sitting on the fence for a long time. You didn't know if you'd get it. Or, maybe you won a lottery ticket. And I don't buy lottery tickets, so that's not a good one for me, but something that really made you feel good. How did you walk? Were you walking kind of cocky like a rooster, feeling good? How did you talk? Did you say to other people, "Hey, I'm really feeling good, we should go out for a drink and get to know each other more"? How did you sit? Were you sitting up straight? Try it. I know some of you are laying back in your lazy boy now or on the couch sleeping, but just sit up straight and see how you feel. How do you stand? You stand tall with your chest out, your head up, your chin up a little, feeling good. How did you feel? I borrowed Ash a couple months ago back in one of the 90-day challenges, and I'm sure he won't mind you looking at this, but I had Ash up at the front of the room and I said, "Hey, Ash, show me what a Superman looks like." I had to help him a bit, get his chest out and his arms folded. And actually, he was standing on his tiptoes, but he was kind of looking cocky. And I said, "You're a realtor, aren't you? You feel good, you look good. Take that confidence to the door and be recharged." So we want to acknowledge that life cycles, and it's up to us to acknowledge that when we're down and when we're up. And when we're up, take advantage of it. It's a good thing to have. It's normal for life to cycle. So don't beat yourself up. I love awareness. Awareness is almost the key to change. If you're not aware of something, if you're not consciously aware of something, then you likely will never change it. And sometimes we expect results to change. I remember I used to do business planning, and at the beginning of the year, let's make a business plan. And I put all these things down, but never really changed the way I did things. And then at the end of the year, I wonder why I had the same results year after year. It was almost like I was expecting a miracle. So we have to be aware. So what do you really want? When I say that, I don't mean, well, I want to sell 15 houses this year. That's just money. Money is fun. Money is good to have. But what do you really want to do with it? Figure out what you want, whether you want to travel or whether you want to buy things, whether you want to take your family somewhere. Can you see it? You really want to visualize what you really want. Can you describe it in detail? Write it out in detail what you want. If you want to be a top realtor, then what does that look like? Describe that. Describe that person. What do you feel like? It's got to be crystal clear. You can't say, oh, I just want to be better. I just want to be bigger. I just want to make more money. It doesn't work that way. And there's lots and lots of people out there that verify that every year. It just doesn't work. You've got to describe it, and it's got to be crystal clear. And you've got to write it down every day. Some people don't. I learned this in the last 5 years. I couldn't figure it out. Some people write out their goals and put it in the drawer. And at the end of the year, may look at it and say, oh yeah, I did this, did this, did this. Like, you've got to look at it every day, because that's what gets you fired up. To look at it, write it down every day. And whatever that is, maybe you want to, well, just an example is an athlete. A friend of mine wants to run a marathon. He's out running every day. He's not going to practice a week before. It's every day to build up those muscles, to be stronger. So what do you really want? And when you figure out what you want, you can look at where you are and where you want to be. And you start putting the plan together. And as you can see, it's not a straight line. There's going to be some ups and downs, some hiccups. You're going to have to change some things. You might have to take some courses and educate yourself. You may have to sacrifice something. You may have to drop a coffee here or there, give up a golf game or whatever. You might have to make some sacrifices, but you got to have the desire, and you got to have the will to get where you want to go. I use the example of my car in the past, and it seems to me to be the simplest example. When you leave here today, wherever you're driving, you're going down the highway, start to be conscious of what you're doing. Look at your hand on your steering wheel, and you'll see your hand is moving up and down. And when you think about it, your mind is not telling you, okay, thumb move up, thumb move down. You are doing this automatically. In fact, most of you, if I back up an hour before you got in your car, don't remember getting in and don't remember putting the key in the slot and turning the car on, putting it into drive and driving away. We don't remember that process. Well, we can kind of guess what we did, but it might have been the same thing we did an hour ago or a day ago or a week ago. My point is that we do it automatically. And to prove my point is, if you have a 16-year-old son or daughter that you're taking out for driving lesson, watch them. Give them the key and they will ask, where do I put it in? Where do I do with this? You know, and you'll have to consciously tell them step by step where to put your foot. Get your foot off the gas and put it on the brake. You know, adjust your mirrors. Where should I adjust them for? You know, all those things we do automatically, they have to learn step by step. So if you want to make some changes, you have to start doing things consciously. You have to look at your daily activities, look at what you do regularly. Another thing is react. Recharge people do not react. Oh, well, occasionally we have to. Like if your child runs out in front of a car, you want to react real quick. But generally, we stop reacting when we start responding. The difference is respond is calculated, respond is practiced, respond is in control. So you no longer snap and fly off the handle from a reaction, but you sit back and you respond and say, how can I make it better? What can I do in this situation? Is it in my control or not? So you want to learn to respond, and then you'll have complete control over what you're doing. So learn to be mindful. Show up. Are you here today? Are you doing something else? Are you focused on being here and hearing what I'm saying? Or are you texting on your phone right now? You have to be mindful. If you want to control what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, you have to show up, both physically and mentally, and be mindful of what you're doing. We all have habits, actions, behaviors that we do the same way every day. Even be mindful tonight when you brush your teeth, how you do it. You likely do the same process all the time. Tie your shoes, get dressed. All those things are habits. that we've developed over time. Now, what if we can start to develop habits that move us ahead to what we really want in life? It starts with an idea. That's the light bulb. Everything has started with an idea. I've got this little clicker in my hand. Somebody came up with this idea. Your cell phone in your hand, someone had the idea that we can talk to each other and everybody can have a cell phone. It started with an idea, and then the thoughts were unrolled. And then it started thinking, and you get excited. So have an idea, you start thinking about it, you get excited and you feel good about it. It might be a trip. Have you ever gone to Europe or somewhere and you got thinking, wow, we should go to Spain, or we should go to Rome. And you get thinking, well, yeah, and we could do this, and we could do that, and you start getting excited about it. And then you take action. You get the maps out. You phone the airline, and you start booking this and booking that. Do we stay at a bed and breakfast, or what do we do? And you start taking some actions. And then, of course, the result is you go and you enjoy yourself. And maybe you didn't do it quite exactly what you wanted to do. And so the next time you adjust those, you take those results and you adjust your thoughts to change. And so it goes around and around. Everything we do falls into this category. You have this idea you want to list a house. There's a FSBO down the street, and I think they're nice people. Yeah. Put those thoughts in. Yeah, I could do that. I'm a great realtor. So I'm going to knock on the door because I feel good about what I do. I have the confidence. You take the action, you knock on the door and say, hi, I'm with RE/MAX Real Estate Center, and I'm looking for people that are willing to sell and move this year and wanting to move. And I thought I'd come and talk to you. Put it into action. Action is what we learn to do then. And sometimes we're doing actions now that are not getting us to where we want to go. Recharge is very personal. What works for you may not work for somebody else. We all have circumstances, we all have families, we all have relationships, we all have things that are around us that control and contribute to where we want to go. So you have to decide what works for you. Recharge people don't make excuses. Sure, there's reasons for doing what we do, but you don't make excuses. You figure out a way to do it. You talk to people. I talk about external and internal recharge. I went to a Tony Robbins seminar one time, and anybody that knows Tony Robbins, he's out there, he's animated, he's loud, he's sometimes, just loud. And so he gets the crowd standing on their chairs, high-fiving each other, hugging, and just all excited. And people come away thinking, oh, that's just not me. That's okay. But you want to figure out what gets you excited. You go to listen to Deepak, and he doesn't jump up and down on the stage. He doesn't yell and scream. He doesn't throw balloons or anything like that. He's just a quiet man of strength. Maybe that's more your personality. But both characters, both people, it's mindset. It's being with yourself, taking a moment and thinking, what do I really want? You need to stop yourself from the rat race, take time and just think, what do I really want? What is fully charged? Fully charged is feeling at your maximum. It's what happens when you are fully charged. You feel better about who you are and what you do. You have more courage, more confidence. You attract and build better relationships. People like to be around exciting people. People like to be around positive, enthusiastic people. You see more opportunities. You will be amazed how many opportunities are attracted when you're aware of them, when you're aware of what's going on around you, and you look and you start to see, and you start to visualize things happening, and they happen. You think, whoa, that's powerful. You experience higher income because you feel confident. because you will talk to more people and feel good about who you are. You will have a higher awareness of who you are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Sometimes they say, oh, I have to develop my weaknesses. No, you don't. Develop your strengths. I remember I looked at my business one time and there were 4 sources that I would get my business from. And one of them wasn't FSBOs. And I know some of you eat off of FSBOs, and that's great. It was never my thing. And I thought, oh, I have to add a 5th leg to my business, which is FSBOs. And I talked about that for 2 years, and I never did it because I never had the courage to do it. And then I realized, no, I don't want to do FSBOs. It's not my thing. But the other 4 legs were feeding me, so I just cranked those up. In other words, what works for John may not work for Mary, or works for Sarah may not work for Jim. You gotta figure out what your niche is. That's your strength. Accountability is the last A. That's the results. If you want to know where you are in life, just look at your results. That's where you were heading. The results aren't what is the result of the actions you took. Sometimes we look at the process and then blame the results for what happens. No, the process is what you did. So you look at your results, your recharge results, and start to see what you did and see what corrections you can make. This is not black and white. It's not negative or positive. I realized this about 2 years ago. Sometimes we go, oh, that person's really negative. Oh, really negative. It's not about being negative. It's not about being positive. It's about the decisions you make. Recharge is about heading towards that higher space, that higher level, that feels good, that makes you happy. You have fun in that higher space. And so the decisions you make lead you up to that. So when you make a decision, when you say no to an opportunity, you're going down. When you say, oh, I can't do that. I'm just not good enough. No, I can't, when you start holding back, when you start feeling that fear, when you start worrying about things instead of taking positive action, when you have doubt, those are all feelings of crap that are in the lower levels. So recharge will push you up so that you feel good about what you're doing, so that you develop the strength and stay up in that higher level. And it's only the decisions you make. Make good, solid decisions to be with the right people, to build strong relationships, and move up to that higher level, that higher state where growth is. One of the books I read on mindset, I forget the author's name, but she talks about growth and fixed. In other words, you have to have a growth mindset. Growth mindset is open to opportunities, open to suggestions. We'll listen, not always take, but we'll at least listen to what's going on. If you have a fixed mindset, if you think you're always right, you always do the same thing all the time, what opportunity is there for you? So try to develop a growing mindset, an inquisitive mindset, a mindset that asks questions, a mindset that is in that higher state. That's what recharge is about. I call it the happy line. Life will go up and down. Your life will still cycle, but if you can stay above the happy line, life will be so much better. You will attract better relationships, and your income will be reflected directly. Start your day early. Recharge your mindset in the morning. One of the books I've followed is The Miracle Morning, and I understand now there's a 5 a.m. club. If you get up at 5 a.m., God bless you, but I don't and I won't. I think 6 o'clock is my day. So everybody has their own. But the important thing is that hour of power. If you can get up in the morning and reserve that hour in the morning to meditate, to get your head on straight, do some exercises, do some educational reading, Do some things to build you so that when you hit the second hour of the day, you're ready to take on the world and you're feeling good about it. And you're feeling that you can add to rather than subtract from what's going on. I strongly urge people to, not today, but for tomorrow. Write 6 things down today that you're going to do tomorrow to help you get closer to where you want to be. If you want to be a better realtor, make more money, then what can you do? What 6 things can you do tomorrow to help you get towards that? Maybe it's a matter of sitting down with your broker and saying, hey, I need some accountability. I need somebody to kick my butt and help me move ahead. Maybe it's a matter of sitting down with somebody that's making more money than you and saying, what would you be willing to help me? Would you be able to show me what you do and tell me what I'm doing wrong? Top producers are more than willing to share what they do. In fact, that's what teaching is about. That's what sharing is about. That's what recharge is about. Look for a recharged person and hang on their coattails. Follow them around. Make a commitment, 6 activities for tomorrow. What methods do you use to recharge? Everybody's different. Some people like loud, honky music. Other people like to just sit quiet on a bench in the park and watch the ducks, feed the ducks. Everybody recharges differently. You need to figure out what gets you fully charged. When you are fully charged, you recharge those people around you. Your energy is like it spreads, and you're attracting recharged people. Have you ever gone to a party and there on the corner, there's this group and there's one person in the middle of the group that seems to be influential. There's an energy, they attract people. So can you be that kind of person? Maybe not today, but you can work towards being a person whose energy is a magnet. Become unstoppable. In summary, let's look at those models. Thoughts, feelings, actions. Be totally aware of what you're thinking. What are your thoughts? And when you're aware of your thoughts, then you can decide whether you want to react or respond. Acknowledge what you can't control. That's the way it is. Here I am. This is me. I love me just the way I am, and I'll work with that. Be aware and then take action. Start taking actions towards what you really want. Be mindful. Be consciously aware and start looking at things around you and being aware takes practice. Sometimes people aren't always aware of what's going on around them, but if you start to look at things and you start to point things out, look at that little bunny that's chewing my grass in the backyard. Like, I think he watches me. He's aware I'm there, but he isn't running away. See, be mindful and show up. I hope you showed up today, and I hope this stimulated some thoughts. Because if you can think of what you really want, and excite those feelings within you. Like, you are in an industry that's we can be unstoppable. There's so much potential out there. We can have so much fun together and build a team of unstoppable, recharged agents. And I get so excited about it. It's unbelievable. And accountability. Find a mentor, find a coach if you need somebody. The best example I can give you is last year and a half ago, I lost 40 pounds, and I did it because of accountability. I wrote down every day what I ate. I watched it. I was conscious of what went in my mouth every day, and I monitored it. And that's just losing some fat, like losing some weight. I thought, this was a big deal for me because I spent years and years not knowing what to do. So you take action, you get accountability partner, and you move ahead together. And you can do the same thing in real estate. You can do the same thing if you want to run, whatever you want to do in life. Become aware of it, take the action, and watch your results and start to become accountable. So I have no idea what time it is, and Louise, I don't know. where you are. I hope everybody didn't fall asleep. It's just so great, and I really appreciate this opportunity, and thank everyone out there. And I do hope we can touch base, and I can introduce my book. There's so much more in my book I'd like to share with you about mindset, about programming, and how you can shift your mindset and your paradigm, all that stuff. It's mind-boggling, and it'll make us all greater people. So, wow.
Thank you so much, Wayne. So inspiring.